Normally, our traveling home is designed to run either in 1 4-hour session or in about 4 to 6, session campaign. So we're going to be kind of doing a selection here. We're going to be powering really quickly through character creation, as I said to the players before the stream started, in order to get as much playing in as possible. There's a lot of kind of open-ended questions during character creation, and I'm encouraging everyone to say the obvious thing. Don't worry about saying the cool thing. Just say the first thing, and the dynamic at the table will take care of making your answers cool. Because this is a game about queerness and romance and people who don't like that, emotional safety is always important. If there is anybody who is joining the stream, watching the stream, who is maybe not familiar with the concept of emotional safety tools, I'll just read a 1-paragraph script that I would normally give if I was sitting down to run a game at a convention table with a group of mixed folks who weren't familiar with emotional safety tools. So obviously we all love and care about one another, and we want to make sure that we all have a fun and positive experience, but we don't know each other, and we don't know what things might be difficult, uncomfortable, or traumatizing for someone if they came up in the fiction. So to that end, we're going to use a set of emotional safety tools to help us navigate potentially difficult subjects. These tools are a safety net, and they exist to help us trust each other and play. I promise that I will use these tools if needed, and I trust you to take care of yourself and use these tools if you need to as well, because that way we can have a safe and fun experience together that we can all feel good about. So those are usually the notes that I hit when introducing these things. Because I wrote this game during COVID, and I noticed that people kind of interact differently with emotional safety tools that are designed for in-person play when playing online. I actually wrote a set of safety tools for this game. They are 3 phrases: let's not, let's discuss, and let's check in. Let's not is basically for those, for people who are familiar with X card, it's just very similar to the X card. If something comes up in the fiction and you just want to cut that off immediately, please feel free either in the chat or to just cut in and say, let's not, and then we won't. However, because the anxiety of accidentally interrupting people because of internet latency is so real after 20 months, sometimes it can be really hard to break in and advocate for yourself in the moment. That's why we also have let's check in and let's discuss. Let's discuss is a phrase that a player can use to negotiate exploring difficult content while still establishing boundaries. If there's something that comes up that you're like, oh, that might head a way that is not great for me, but it could be okay as well, feel free to use let's discuss. We'll pause, we'll have a brief conversation about, okay, here's what I can deal with, here's what I can't deal with, and we'll move on from there. And then let's check in is a phrase that players can use to play the game after a scene has ended. If it seems really intense, or you think that someone maybe might not be okay and you just want to check in on someone, it's a good, say, hey, let's check in, see how everyone is doing. Does anyone need anything before we continue on with our next scene? So those are our 3 safety tools. Does that make sense to? Great. Okay. So the characters, there are 5 character playbooks in our traveling home. Folks have already pre-selected their playbooks, but just to very, very briefly describe them, we have the wizard, who is someone who bargained with a demon for power and is now bound to its fate. The wizard is someone who very much wants to be connected to people but doesn't know how, and so settles for impressing them instead. The demon is bound to the wizard through a pact. and it is their power that enables the home to travel around. There is the monster, someone who either was an untamed demon, witch, or other kind of monster of the wilds, but has been stripped of their powers and is now has been taken in, is now part of the family. The child is an orphan that was taken in at a young age by the wizard and is now their apprentice. And lastly, the cursed, who will have romance with the wizard. They are someone who whose body has been transformed by a powerful spell that the wizard is not able to reverse, and they have found themselves cast out of society and have made a new home with the wizard. So all of that said, let us jump into character and relationship creation. What I'm going to get folks to do first, before we get into the relationship questions, is I'd like everyone to go around and just kind of introduce your characters. Tell us your name, and briefly describe your characters for us, and then we'll get into these relationship questions. So we will go in character order, which means we are starting with our wizard.
Alrighty. So when you ask to describe, is this like the character making an introduction or like a third person description of our character?
Whatever your preference is, really.
For now, I'll go with third person for now, I
Okay.
think. So my character's name is Pyre, Pyre. They have sharp eyes, which in this case, I have trouble kind of fully deciphering what sharp eyes meant, but it felt like the right choice. Very intense glares, not necessarily in a malicious way, but sort of hyper-focused, almost mixed with mania. And a very wiry body, almost as someone who just like crazy high metabolism and probably could eat more. But their clothes are wildly flamboyant. I think with some of the magic that Pyre has available to them, they are definitely going to have some sort of moving patterns on their clothes, with just like olive complexion and then all long robes and whatnot.